Hello and welcome to Gag of the Millennial.
A show where we talk about pop culture, current events,
and spill the hot Darjeeling right into your face.
Scoldy
I didn't give you a warning then. I
no,
just
you
started.
didn't.
I was like,
do you know what I was going to say? Hello, beautiful. Welcome back to our show. For a moment, I was like, what?
well, what channel are we
happening?
on? We have not done a gag for a while.
We haven't actually. We've been busy.
We've been
on
very
the go.
busy. But we're back today to do a current events talk today about some things that recently
current.
Current.
Very appropriate for the first topic.
Yes. Oh, we're talking about raisins. Yes. So today we're back for a new gag. Hello and welcome everyone. I hope you've had a wonderful, wonderful few weeks, months, whenever it is you last checked in with us. Hope you're doing wonderful.
I don't.
No, see, no.
I got very little sleep last night. So today is going to be very exciting.
She's very aggressive. But anyway, just before we
Yes.
do start, I hope you're having a wonderful morning, Luxeria, even though you're
Yes,
tired.
I'm okay.
What's the tea? What have you been doing?
Well, I washed my hair this morning, so I do resemble a woolly sheep today, because every day on a hair wash day, if I have to film, I become the frizziest woman ever.
Are you like that sheep that got cloned in the 90s?
Dolly?
Remember the clone
Dolly
sheep?
the sheep. Yeah, well, dead now.
Wasn't that a weird time in
Well, it was-
UK
yeah,
history?
That was very strange.
Cloning sheep.
We used to be like a world leader in industry, and now we're like, why pale offences blow.
I think we should start today by talking about the most unhinged story that recently just happened, which is all over the news. Everything, like we're still hearing about it now, like weeks on, is this bloody submarine.
The submarine.
This is the perfect example of why conspiracy theories start.
Yes.
Because
yes,
of the
100%.
unhingedness of, like, the more you learn about it, the more I learned about it, I'm like, I believe in conspiracy theories.
Yeah, it's a really just weird story from start to finish.
Would you like to spearhead the beginning?
Well, I mean, I don't even know if I really understand the whole story so
It's
far.
okay.
So
I don't think any of us
I'm
do.
a little bit like, I sort of fill in the blanks and hope for the best. One thing that I have learned about this that I was really surprised about is, for some reason, I thought the Titanic, like, actually was in the middle of the ocean, like in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, actually, I didn't know.
It's actually only like a couple of 100 miles offshore.
Oh, really?
Which is a bit like, what?
I actually didn't know
I thought
that.
it was literally like the North Pole. So I don't know why, because I've never looked into it. I was like, I don't know why. So, Titan, the sort of DIY do-it-yourself submarine that's
The
like...
DIY submarine is definitely... It's
It's
DIY?
It's very DIY now, how on topic. So this submarine was like certified by the company to go, I think it was 1,800 meters down, and the Titanic wreckage is like 3,800 meters. So
Yes.
it's considerably deeper than the maximum like recommended depth of this vessel.
Vessel,
shall we say.
yes.
Well,
I mean, a vessel. It was a tube.
Right? It literally was a meat tube, like a metal meat tube.
When before, if people don't know about the story, when we're saying submarine, you're probably picturing something that I picture, like those war submarines. You see
Yeah,
one of those-
like a nuclear sub
yeah,
or something like
but
massive.
like it was literally like, I'll put a photo on the screen so you can see. But if you're just listening to audio, it was
kinda like a
literally like
drone.
it looked like a tube, like
Yeah.
a little tube with a bit on the end that had a flick. And did you see the photos of them inside? Like
Awful,
they were like
isn't
crouched
it?
over
Absolutely
as well.
Awful. Yeah, the idea. I think the whole round trip was meant to be something like 6 hours. I want to say it was like 2 hours down, an hour exploring, and then like 2 hours back. But the idea of being like hunched like
they were
this
hunched
around
over.
a tiny screen, being like, oh, there's the hole. Oh, there's what's her name? She's dead now. And it was just kind of like they had one window, and it was in the
toilet.
It was in the toilet, but also it was one of those tiny portholes that like is mostly covered. So
So you
the
couldn't
idea
even see anything out of it.
that these, what was it, 5 people in total? It was like a billionaire, his son didn't even want to go, which I do kind of feel like is quite sad.
Yeah, well, I've got a story beside us. It was actually his mum was supposed to go.
And she didn't want to go.
And she let him go instead, which is really sad because he was only 19.
Yeah.
And the fact that he died.
The idea that you're going into a vessel to then just look on a screen doesn't really make any sense to me. They could have Disneyfied it and just put it in a warehouse somewhere and just sort of rattled it and threw things at it and been like, oh, look, the woman.
So this is the biggest thing. Before the implosion and like the whole we're all going to die thing happened, they had been warned multiple times that this was a really bad idea.
Apparently on the front page of the contract, it mentioned death 8
And they had to sign. They had to sign
8
it away. To
times.
sign away.
Yeah.
And they still opted in to do this, even though they were told multiple times, and the captain was told multiple times how dangerous this was.
Yeah.
My biggest thing at the whole thing is the fact that it was literally, you're going into a tiny ass tube, like a panic room. You're going to submerge yourself in water, going to a dangerous depths to only watch a screen. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, I watched a video and this person was like, why didn't they just, they could have easily faked it and like got them in it and then put them in like a swimming pool. And then like put them in a swimming pool and then be like, oh, look what we're looking at. Like, if I was ever just going like a submarine, I'd be like, I want to be able to see what I'm looking at with my eyes and not on a screen. Just sit at home. You can watch the Titanic film.
Exactly, it's exactly that. And this is a question that is kind of strange because the discourse around it, this whole situation has been so like, oh, isn't it sad this billionaire died doing this? And it's like,
oh, this is 100% a point of don't think because someone's rich that they're smart.
Yeah, because I would never for a million, no matter how interested I was to do something like this, be like, I'm going to take myself and my offspring into this tube that I've had to sign death for 8 times. To like, what was it, $500,000?
Yeah, it was $250,000 to even
yourself
do it.
And your son, $500,000 to do that. Like, you're a billionaire. You could have had your own submarine and crew go down there and spend as long as you wanted down there.
Yeah.
That's what's so.
But this is why there's been so many conspiracy theories around it. People wanted them to die, or like it was faked, or like they were trying to hide themselves. I mean, I've heard so many different conspiracies at this point because of
the fake death one is the one that I just read about.
Fake death one. Although I don't believe it, I actually think these people were just absolutely stupid, but I can understand why it goes around because the obscene nature
fiction,
of what it is, the stupidity of like being in this tiny ass cylindrical tube. But the implosion thing, the fact that like a tiny hole was there and then suddenly it sucked all the air out.
Exactly.
I don't really understand the whole concept of implosion. I think it's difficult to really grasp the concept, but at least it was quick and they just died instantly before they even.
They would never have felt a single iota of pain because the implosion happened at a speed faster than your neurons fire, so you really cannot actually feel that. But one thing I do want to say about this story in general is how the media covered it. The media kind of was like, oh, they've got 90 hours of oxygen remaining, are they gonna make it? It's like, no, we know that they instantly would have died as soon as they lost contact. That was an implosion. They bumped something, gone. But the media was kind of like giving so much false
there was like
hope.
Live countdowns on like some news shows with like little countdowns on the side being like,
this is when they're gonna die. Like, what?
It was
so bleak.
Weird. It was very
so
strange.
Black Mirror, like Truman Show weirdness. But the fact that then they kind of gave everyone false hope that like, oh, we're gonna find them. They're gonna surface. Even if in your wildest imaginations that they were still around and still had oxygen, how would they possibly have navigated to the surface? How would they ever have escaped? Because it was bolted from the outside. Another reason why I would never get into that. Don't go into a room that's bolted from the outside.
The fact that you couldn't exit, you needed someone outside to unscrew for you to get out. Like, that's
prison.
Yeah.
That's a prison. You're literally, but not only a prison, you're going into a prison cell and throwing it into the ocean.
Imagine for a second that you went on an aeroplane to go to holiday or whatever, and they bolted you in from the outside. If you had a plane crash, all of you would die. I just don't get it, Luxer. It doesn't make sense.
No, there's so many points of like, this doesn't make sense.
What are you
this
doing?
Also doesn't make sense.
This is why this is exactly why I'm like conspiracy theories are going crazy, because it just I cannot compute the level of like red flags that you chose to look past.
Yeah. My sympathy is kind of minimal for everyone in this situation because of the amount of red flags that they chose to ignore. At this point, you just kind of have to say, that's a stupid decision that you've made. I do feel like there should be some huge lawsuits happening against this company, because literally like 2 days later, they were like, we're looking for a new diving expert for our next Titan mission. Like, what? You're posting a job posting on your website. And the fact they're called Ocean Gate, which is the national, like, gatekeeping, like, scandal name for anything. Like Piggate, if you remember that.
Piggate.
David Cameron.
Everything was gay. Everything was gay. Partygate.
Partygate. Yeah. I don't know why gate is the word, but it does seem to be like, drama.
Yeah, why is it gate? I don't know.
Absolutely no idea.
It's so open to speculation and confusion.
So I did love, there was a reel going around of like the simulation of the implosion.
Oh, yeah.
And it was so funny. Someone in the comments wrote, and this was simulated on the first ever computer. I was like, what? Because it kind of goes...
Yeah, no, I saw that.
Like,
yeah,
that's
it's strange.
not what an implosion looks like.
But I saw a load of people as well being like, this is what an implosion looks like. They were like using like, they were putting cans on like fire and then putting it into water and then watching
that
it
is
do that.
Kind of, yeah, it is kind of like that. But of course, I think down at that level of pressure, it was what, I think it was 375 like compared to what we have up here.
Yes.
So that is like instant gone. Like there's
Squashed.
nothing like recognizable. Apparently in the press, like what was it called, press meeting, a journalist stood up and was like, and how are we going to recover the bodies? It's like there are no bodies.
No,
there's not even a vessel at this point.
They've eviscerated into nothing.
Do you want us to collect a sample of goo and bring it back to the surface? Like it's just the level of people's like wider education is becomes so apparent when a scandal like this breaks that people are like, oh, they'll be fine. No, like, how do you not know that they would never
exactly?
be fine?
You would
like
never.
Full grown like 40-year-old adults being like, well, they've got enough oxygen to last. It's like, how do you not know?
Yeah.
How do you not know in all of your years? How do you not know that this is like a fatal situation?
Yes,
it's so
exactly.
Strange.
I want to actually in a segment,
your hole.
So in a segment, I've decided to call Weird News.
Oh, I wasn't consulted about
No,
this.
you weren't. No. So
No.
I wanted to shock you with this.
Okay, right. Yeah. Oh yes, you did say earlier. I've got a surprise.
So I found this article on the internet and I was like, I
Right.
want to read this to you to see your
Okay,
reaction. TikToker fakes his own death to find out who cares, then shows up at his funeral.
You've got too much spare time.
So, a Belgian TikToker faked his own death to find out who cared and turned up his own funeral. David, how do you say his last name? Beaton, 45, and his wife and children decided to prank friends and family members to find out what they really thought of him. To spread the news of Mr. Beaton's death, one of his children took a social media post and wrote a tribute to his father, saying, "Rest in peace, Daddy. I will never stop thinking about you." Already, this is absolutely disgusting.
This is very The Boy That Cried Wolf.
Yeah,
isn't it?
why is life so unfair? Why you? You're going to be a grandfather and you still had your whole life ahead of you. I love you. We love you. We will never forget you.
We'll never forgive you.
We'll never forgive
well,
you.
we won't.
So essentially what happened was, after this happened, they had a fake funeral, and then during like midway through like the wake, the guy came in on a helicopter and was like, "Surprise, I'm not dead." And he did it because apparently he was like, "My family don't appreciate me, and like they never invite me to parties and they never invite me to things. I just wanted to make sure that they cared about me, and that it just shows that you should care about someone before they die." Like, it was just like,
They want to invite me to parties. Main character syndrome.
Well, actually, I'll read you the bit at the bottom that actually says where it actually says it here. It's like, "When I see my family often hurts me. I never get invited to anything. Nobody sees me."
If you have time to worry about all this, you are not like living your best life, sis.
I think we've all had moments in our life when we've gone, "I wonder who cares," or "I wonder what blah, 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 blah." But like the idea that you would
Go to this length.
let's stage your own death, get your young children to write like eulogies about you.
Oh, it's very family channel,
on
isn't
the
it?
internet, and then to like come into the helicopter and be like, "It's because you don't care about me." I just think it's so unhinged.
Oh, it's dirty. It's dirty. It's grooming people's feelings.
It is. My extended family or whatever don't speak to me enough.
Don't talk to me.
Like, I'm the important one. And so, because they're not talking about me or inviting me to parties or doing things, I must show them that they're wrong. It's like, you ever thought maybe they've got things going on?
Thought maybe they don't want to talk to you
Yeah,
because
exactly.
you like to do things like this.
Exactly. Like, me and Luxeria, for example, say we had an extended family that were wonderful.
Unrelatable content.
But like, we have incredibly busy lives. We do a lot of things. And it's like,
I don't even have enough time sometimes to see some of my actual really close friends that I really
Exactly.
enjoy. That
If it
I'm like
wasn't
more
for-
than like once a month.
if it wasn't for the fact that we live next door to each other.
Yeah, it would be like a once a week.
Yeah,
kind
exactly.
Of thing.
Not even, I don't think it'd even be that,
Maybe
really.
not,
Especially
not
now.
with the level that we're working
Yeah,
now.
but I just find it crazy that you would go to this level to be like, "Why aren't you talking to me?"
And
the
the idea of arriving on a helicopter as well, that's so like, and the angel descends.
Imagine faking your own death. To me, it's more the fact that you got your children involved. I think that's really sick.
Yeah.
Like, because they probably didn't really truly understand. Like, as an adult, you make a conscious decision, but as a child, you don't really have the cognitive understanding of like what death kind of entails and how it can affect people, unless you're someone who's lost people yourself. Like, I just think it's a bit cruel to like
Oh, it is.
put
It's
people
really
through
cruel.
that.
Really cruel. I don't know why. Like, what did he get out of it? Was he then like, and now they love me forever, and I'm always talked about, and I'm going to all the parties.
His thing was
They
just
constantly want. They can't. I'm gonna block them. They won't stop
Yeah.
calling.
it was his thing of like, I just want to show that you should love your people while they're here, not after they've died. And it's just like, for sake, like, get over yourself. Can you imagine, right, if he did this and like,
died,
and the family were just like,
Mate, oh, I hope they were. And then he'd be like, my thoughts were right all along. Truly, I am not the main character.
like, that could have easily backfired against you as well.
100%.
Like,
imagine if he'd have faked his death and then like 2 people in his close family had died of heart attacks from the fear of losing him.
yeah, or
And
someone
then how
committed
would he
so
feel?
yeah, they
How would he
took their
feel
life
then?
because they were really sad. Weird, absolutely insane.
It's so like, I don't know, it just seems really a bit childish.
Talking about weird things and death and stuff, did you see that video of one of the fans throwing their mum's ashes on
Oh
Pink's?
my god, what is going on
What
at
is
Pink's
happening?
concerts? I mean, unless she's in the air flying, which is kind of iconic. Did you see the one today where someone hands her
Cheese
a
wheel.
wheel of cheese?
Cheese wheel.
They were like, Brie for Pink, and she's like. But
Weird.
with those
The-
ashes, and
the
she carries on
ashes.
singing, and she's like, I don't know what to do.
And what's so she's so
Why would you think that's ever these like sometimes these obsessive fans are getting way too comfortable.
so what the weird what the weirdness of it is like. So Pink was singing like a pill in this moment, and as she picks up the ashes, and she's like, "Is this?" So the woman says, "This woman has like thrown her mum's ashes on the stage in like a sealed bag." Pink picks up the thing and goes, "Is this your mum's ashes?" And the fans always like, "Yeah." And she goes, "I don't know how to feel about this. I can't stay on your life support."
Yeah, it's just like,
It's just
what
like,
has
what the
happened?
timing to be like, I can't stay on your life support while you're holding this dead mum.
Oh,
like,
it's just bizarre. Imagine being Pink and then coming off stage and being like, I've just been handed ashes.
weird.
Like, what happens afterwards? Because
Ashes to ashes, pink to pink.
is it like? I mean, I don't suppose it's a biohazard, is it? Ashes, because they're not like.
No, it won't be a biohazard, but it's just a
very
weird
like,
thing
how
to
do you
do.
even like? Because like, do you think that person would get their mum's ashes
But
back?
it's like there was the woman who what was she called, the girl who just had a phone thrown at her face.
Oh, Ava.
Is she?
Ava
All of the queens and the kings of the
girls.
world, like had a phone thrown at her
But
face
like
while she was
violently.
performing.
And there was another one who ran on stage and
slapped-
slapped someone because but then he was like, I just really wanted to give her my number.
The
'cause
one
I
who
love
sings,
her."
"I'm good, yeah, I'm feeling alright,"
and I've got gout.
got hit in the face by a fan on stage. She came on the face.
And later he was like, it's because I really like her.
I cannot understand loving someone so much that you want to hurt them.
That's like a dark place
what
of the psyche.
what? Oh, triggered.
A dark
That's
woman.
why I had a restraining order. But like, I can't imagine getting to that stage where you love someone so much that you want to literally.
You're living in your own
I know,
nightmare.
yeah. It's constantly triggered.
Absolute
Shall I get my
weirdo.
framed restraining order out
Yes,
again?
let's.
I
A dramatic reading
dramatic
by
reading,
AI
yeah.
TikTok woman B.
Lovely woman. I find it crazy that you would love someone so much that you're willing to throw like phones at their face or literally go up and slap them. Like, what are you doing?
I really want to know more behind the story of the Pink ashes thing, because it's like, did their mum just like absolutely love Pink? And so they were like, my mummy wants my spreader on Pink. Like, what are you doing?
It's like, it's got to a stage where you haven't seen these people as people, and like they're almost like
Art
real.
or
It's like
something, yeah.
AI's become so big that now you're thinking people are AI, because we get this even in our Twitch streams where people come in and trauma dump, and it's like sometimes you're just
trauma dumping is something else. I've had a lot of it recently,
and it's just
just
like, you don't have to react.
it's
Like, how do you react?
I'm really sorry that this horrific situation is happening to you, but we're trying to build a roller coaster called Fat Pussy.
Yeah,
So I don't
I just-
understand how I can possibly react to this moment.
I remember that one ages ago when I was in the middle of literally shooting zombies in Resident Evil, and it was the same person who said to you, "My bully set me on fire," and it was like, how do you respond to that?
I was building Callum in The Sims as he was
Callum.
just about to kill himself with his bed, because he's anytime I build Callum in The Sims, he kills himself instantly. And they were like, my bully set me on fire, and it's like, I'm really sorry, but like, I'm just about to build a naked cake shop in The Sims. Like, thank you for thinking of me as a sense of like a way of escaping what's happening in your life. Thank you, but I'm going to go away after my stream by myself in my house and think, oh my God,
Yeah.
this person set you on fire just for being you. And that is going to play on my psyche to the point where sometimes I might not want to stream.
Yeah, when
I'm not a therapist.
When we're not trained therapists. Also, you have to remember that there are also potentially hundreds of other people there who then have to see that, who maybe are triggered by that.
Yeah.
They have similar situations. And
Yeah.
it's like, I'm so sorry that's like horrific has happened to you.
But this is not the space to share
There's
that.
time and places to share these kind of things.
In the last month or so, I've gotten several DMs that are really quite like dark. And I'm like, I don't know what you want me to say to this.
Yeah, how do you respond? How do you respond?
Like, how can I respond to you in a way that's not going to make it worse, not going to affect me, not going to affect you, but also show you that I have heard that you have an issue?
Yeah.
I know my content on YouTube is a lot of like trying to unpack what happened to us as teenagers through the guise of reality TV and body types and surgery and things like that. And I feel like in those sorts of situations, a lot of the comments are also like personal anecdotes shared.
Yes.
But I feel like that is a slightly different situation to like a live stream or personal messages, because we are collectively sharing an experience.
Absolutely.
At that moment.
Absolutely.
And it's
Yeah.
like your uncomfortableness or your situations are welcome there.
And I think so when I did my video maybe a few months ago when I talked about like my past, and I cried in the video many times.
Yeah.
Again, that video had many people in the comment section sharing all their personal stories, and I was like, wonderful. This is the
area.
This is the perfect place to do it, because I'm talking about my past that you I gave warnings, I told them what it was going to be about, and you were able to choose to listen to such sort of like intense stories. And I think that's a perfect place. So that video has lots of people sharing their stories about past and their families and parents and everything. Wonderful. But when you're just like building a roller coaster or shooting zombies, it's just like this, and
it feels like the situation is being derailed in a way that's unproductive.
Yeah.
I will never say to people, don't share if you're having a bad day or something. Like, feel free to say, oh, today's been a bit rubbish, but I'm so glad that we can be here and do this. Like, I'm all here for hearing how your lives are and what's going on, but I feel like certain types of explicit detail just aren't really needed.
Well, that's the thing. I get that pretty much on every video. There'll be just some comments being like, I've had a shit day, but thanks for doing this, you've cheered me up.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah,
I'm like, great.
Yeah, because I know it's not necessarily like gatekeeping information or whatever, but it's we aren't therapists.
Yeah. Consent. Essentially consent.
Yeah, I'm not consenting to hear about your darkest traumas. So Trump, if you didn't know, has been indicted for should we say illicit adult crimes in the 90s.
Illicit adult crimes, yes.
From someone who came forward. And it's weird to see his like followers still being like, this is fine.
They don't care.
If we take it all the way back to 2016, which was what Hillary sent an email on a private server, or sent a couple of emails on a private server, and everyone was like, lock her up!
Lock her up!
They're now actually chanting behind like a convicted felon to actually be like the president in 2024. I do want to say, I did see a couple of tweets.
Can he?
Well, yeah, he can, unfortunately.
Can he
yes,
still?
Yes,
Jesus!
it's perfectly fine. It's perfectly legal, apparently. I saw a Twitter thread talking about like Donald Trump and his presidential campaign in 2024, and people were literally saying like, do not underestimate for a single second that he won't get back in again. And that wasn't like a sort of sense of like, don't be it's just like, don't assume that he's not going to get in again, because the amount of people that were like, he'll never be president.
Yeah, we didn't think that to
Brexit's
begin with.
not going to happen.
Yeah.
The war will never break out in Ukraine. And
Yeah.
each time everyone's been proven that like the reality of the world does not run on sense most of the time.
Exactly.
Especially since about 2015. We've just apparently slipped into the twilight zone with how this is. But it is really interesting to see people be such die-hard, almost like cultists, like culty fans. Like MAGA itself has become a religion.
Oh, it's this is the thing.
There's even
it's
like
not
a little
even
hat.
It's not even about presidency or like someone rallying behind like a prime minister or something. It has become like, it's almost like a YouTube fandom.
Yeah.
Like
It like Drag Race fans.
Yes, like Drag Race fans. It's become like this person's become idolized and worshipped beyond belief. It's not about a presidency anymore.
No, it's almost about a messiah complex.
Yeah,
now.
it's very much like they see him as a god rather than a leader. It's more of a, we'll drink the Kool-Aid, Mr. Trump, if you tell us to.
Yeah, I don't get why people love it so much.
I don't understand.
It's so unrelatable to me. I will say though, what is kind of funny is, people that are like, Trump won in 2020, he won, it's rigged, the election was stolen, he won. It's like, well, if he did win, a president can only run for 2 terms, so he can't actually run in 2024. Did he win or didn't he? Mysterious. It's, what is it, Schrodinger's MAGA.
Oh, you'll know that he would have been like, we're going to try to put forward a bill that means that we can continue to be in power.
100%. He has no qualm in like changing the history of that country to put himself in a position of power forever.
Even with the Conservative Party here, is like for him to win the election now, is they don't actually care about necessarily what they're saying. It's all about becoming in power.
Yeah.
So
it's all about an end goal. It's not about how they get there.
The last time we had a election, Boris was constantly going on about Brexit, and we're going to get Brexit done, because that was like the hot topic at the time. But now everything's about trans people.
Yeah.
Everything. Oh, we're going to protect the children. We're going to just and same was what Trump said. One of his statements recently was that we're going to stop doing underage surgeries and killing our children with hormones. Like, it's like they don't care what they're talking about. They'll just say whatever they can to become in power.
Absolutely, they always pick. It always happens like this. They pick on the most like current event, and because like most bloody it's the same what happened when the Queen died and everyone was like marmalade sandwiches. Like, she had 70 years of reigning and you picked the thing from like 3 months ago. So people have an attention span for the media that's like this big, and I don't think it's everyone. I just think it's that like silent, how can I say this without sounding like a complete bitch? Think about your dumbest friend that you have and then realize that most of the population is dumber than them. And they can all vote and make decisions about your future. And no matter how much you tell them that, like, this isn't an important issue because, you know, people aren't coming here and stealing your jobs, what you need to do is vote for better economic policy for everyone. They will never understand that and never take that.
Well, it makes me think when we have our election next year that people are just going to be like, What had party lockdown? What?
Yeah.
But
Partygate? I want to go to a party. It's going to be like that, isn't it?
But any retail workers will completely understand what you just said about stupidity people. Anyone who works in retail knows how stupid the population is.
It's so frustrating. And the thing is, I think stupidity isn't also a permanent thing. Like, we can all make like dumb, stupid decisions just in like a flash of a moment. But it's almost the ability to learn from your mistakes. Do you remember when we voted Brexit? Well, we didn't. Brexit,
oh, very straight, thank you.
One of the top Googles from the UK, Google search results from the UK, search queries, was, what does the European Union do?
Oh, for God's
after
sake.
we'd voted to leave. It's all about tribalism in this weird sense of like, it's us versus them. No, it's not. It's about trying to make a better country for everyone.
Yeah.
This whole, like, it's people treat sometimes, like politics now especially, it's starting to feel a little bit like sports.
Yeah.
Like, my team's very important. I'm wearing all the colour. And it's like, no, your team shouldn't like pick up and put down your beliefs. As soon as they don't align with you anymore, move on.
I love social media. It's given me a job and everything, but the downside of social media, as it's definitely made like more polarizing opinions like vocal,
100%.
which then gets people to rally behind it. Now even in the UK to a stage where like we have a two-party system. We love to pretend we don't. In the UK,
we do.
It's just Conservative and Labour, Green, Liberal Democrats, all that. Well, yeah. But like, it's always between them.
Yeah.
But like, social media has 100% created these, which is why I think the Trump effect has happened, is because they don't see Trump as a president now. They just see him as like this online social presence who does funny things and does a stupid dance and has a scarecrow hair.
Says what we're all thinking.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It does make me concerned about where the future goes, because what are we? We're like 7 years into Brexit and 7 years into
7 years.
I know, right? Yeah. Since like the mid 2010s, the world has slowly gone like more and more and more just absolutely bonkers and so far away from a semblance of trying to, I don't know, reconcile and get along and make the world better for everyone.
Yeah.
Where is it going to go in 5 years? Where is it going to go in 10 years? Like, what's the election? If it literally is like, trans people should be stopped now, what's it going to be in 5 years? Is it going to be like, kill everyone?
That's the thing, because the people who are going against trans people now are the same people who are doing the anti-COVID vaccine, anti-lockdown people. Like, so over lockdown, when all that stuff happened, a lot of people made groups, made things about talking about, oh, everything was a hoax, because all of a sudden, these boring-ass people had nothing else to do. So that was the only thing that they could do that kind of gave them any kind of meaning. And then suddenly they had a big movement behind them, and then they felt like they're part of something. Like, never underestimate the human need to be a part of a group.
Yes.
To be in these COVID conspiracy theories and lockdown conspiracy theories, which we talked about ages ago, but like, those people, once COVID was like over, because it's now been taken off like the world pandemic list, right?
They
were
needed
like,
something else to
what was the
focus
next
on.
thing?
Yeah,
trans people, unfortunately, and now it's becoming to be more the wider LGBT community, but it started with trans people.
I hate also seeing these pick-me trans people people and pick me gays on Twitter being like, I just don't like it if I see a nipple at Pride. Like, it's a protest. Get a grip. It's not falsome.
That stupid Kelly, that stupid woman who came out and then was like, so this girl, this trans woman is very like Blair White. So basically, it was another woman trying to be a Blair White, another trans woman being really like far conservative, blah, 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 blah. Came up and then been like, I just really wanted people to like me, and I've always wanted the people who didn't like me to like me in the proof, and blah, blah, I'm really sorry. Like a week ago, like a couple months after the apology came out, she's like, I lied. I'm not actually sorry.
Just insufferable.
What are you doing?
Just one of the worst people ever. And the thing is, a lot of these right-wing trans women that we see from America very much like to be pick-me because they think that they're like the ultimate example of passing.
Yeah.
And like, you're going to hear something a little bit clocky and bitchy from me now. Like, I clocked her from a mile away and I was like, oh, the people in your life aren't being nice to you for a reason, sis.
They only care because you're saying their own point.
Yes,
as well.
exactly. As soon as, like, it's the same effect of why Ollie London is constantly invited onto all these shows, because if he wasn't saying what they wanted to hear, they would not want to associate with him.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so it makes me kind of feel a little bit like, I feel quite a lot of pity for this Kelly girl, because I just think you're ruining the chance at actually finding yourself a stable, uplifting community by being an absolute.
The thing is, as well, that's the thing. There was a glimmer of like
regret.
you could have actually turned this around if you did this smartly and you were actually true. There could have been a chance. Yeah, I'm not going to be your friend, but you would have been able to kind of redeem yourself within some of the communities to begin with, because we've all been to a stage where we wanted the bullies to like us. We've all been in that situation, but you've now not only pissed off the right wing from just existing as a trans woman, but then you've also pissed off the left.
Anyone who might have protected you or
to
helped
begin
you.
with, because you went against us to then go to the right, and then went against the right to come back to us, but now I've gone, actually, no, I lied. My apology was bullshit.
Oh,
but like,
so
part of the thing that she said was about how slavery was okay.
I know.
Like, what are you talking about?
That's what I mean, is that like, there are some things if you say publicly, you can never come back from. And that for me is one of them.
Yeah.
I think the idea of saying, what was it exactly? But she said something like, some slaves would have enjoyed being slaves.
Yeah, it was.
And it's like, you little privileged dumb bitch. Why do you think for a split second in your stupid little blonde head do you think that you're entitled to any amount of an opinion like that? Why?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It made my blood boil when I heard it, because I was just like, that is such a, even if that was like fake for the lols, whatever, that is such a hateful thought to have.
So this
that it's indicative of rot in your head.
We have seen over the time of like the internet, people saying extreme things for attention. Trisha Paytas, for example, people say things stupid for the clicks, for the likes,
I think
for the
big
attention.
difference is people aren't listening to Trisha Paytas in a political sense.
Yeah. But there's certain things that you don't cross.
Yep.
You can be stupid, embarrass yourself, whatever. But when you start saying things like, there would have been people that probably enjoyed being slaves, that's not a line you cross. Like,
that's unforgivable.
It's so far beyond anything that I'm just like, that is not the attention that you need. That is not the attention that you want.
Like,
that is not attention
who are you trying to impress by saying that?
Yeah.
Like, what type of person do you want in your DMs after that goes live?
I can't even.
Oh my God, yes, thank you.
Because even like, maybe this is me being ignorant, but even people on like the conservative Republican side, I think even most of them would probably say slavery isn't good.
Yes.
Like, surely.
One would hope. Right?
One would hope. I know that was the extremist, but like, you would think that even on that side there'd be people who were going like, that's a bit too far, sis. Like, so what are you gaining from that? But it's like the whole, Roseanne Barr only a few days ago was on a podcast and said how
this wasn't real.
Can we say that word though? I'm not sure if we can say it.
The fatalities in the Second World War didn't happen.
Yes, from the Jewish community. And she said that actually they should all die now because Jewish people are the problem in the world. And it's like,
she has become such a weird figure of like nonsense. Did you see that like special she did as well, where she was like, "You don't even know what gender you are. She
get
a job.
'Cause that was the whole thing.
That's my gender."
It was the whole thing about like, she's back and she's doing a comedy tour after all this long, and it was literally like recycled jokes from like 2015. Like,
comedians to me is not getting on a stage and shouting at your audience
Yeah.
just like various statements you think will make people clap.
Yeah.
That's so like weak.
Yeah.
The thing is, the annoying thing about Roseanne is that she was actually quite a trailblazer in the 90s. My mum used to watch her show. She was the first, like, show on primetime TV to feature a lesbian relationship. Like a lesbian,
really? I didn't know
lesbian
that.
kiss, in
I
fact.
didn't know that.
It was groundbreaking at the time. And so clearly, as someone who was a woman in comedy, which back in the 90s, very much like a male-dominated industry, so she would have experienced discrimination. Also someone, I can say this because I used to be as well, someone who was heavier set would have also been discriminated against for that. Why now has she decided to go on this tangent of like, I'm becoming a really hateful person. I'm the most hateful person you've ever heard. Do you remember the Ambien scandal she had? She just went on Twitter and went on racist rants. And it was the medication.
And there was that whole, because when she originally got cancelled, when her show got cancelled.
That's it,
And
yeah.
it was like, she was
Her
saying
big comeback,
racist shit.
immediately cancelled.
And then she did that apology. But in the apology, she's like offside before, like, in between takes of her apologizing. She was literally just being awful. Like, I said this, and I didn't do this. And it was like, this isn't an apology. You're basically just saying what I've just said is, it's a bit like the Kelly. It's like what you've got this sort of like, I'm really sorry. And as soon as the camera goes off,
yeah,
and it's like,
it's weird.
You know you're still being filmed. Like, what are you doing? Like, where's the intelligence?
Where's the media training?
Yeah,
like you someone who's been in show business forever should know how to make their public I don't know, persona perceived well.
Yeah, it's weird because I say that about Elon Musk as well. I say that, like, Elon Musk has clearly had zero media training and how to not look like a fucking lunatic on the internet.
Well, I think Elon Musk might actually be a special kind of case because he exists in a world of, like, originally Tesla was kind of a very left-leaning company. They make electric cars. They're going against, like, the
oil.
Mammoth of oil industry.
Yeah.
So they're presented as like, you know, lefties, cool. Oh, we're edgy and different. And now it's just gone like full right-wing nonsense. Why are you trying to appeal to such a right-wing audience who's not going to buy an electric car?
Yeah.
It's very strange. But also the same thing with Elon Musk is I almost feel like maybe his PR training or like his idea of what his PR training is working because he is getting an audience. It's just not what we would consider what we would want for our audience. Like, he has got people obsessed with him.
Oh,
obsessed.
Like,
it's weird to see because you're just kind of like, that is so cringe that you like someone, a billionaire who hates you this much.
Hates you, yeah. That's the thing. It's like, when someone becomes a billionaire,
you cannot be a billionaire with good intentions.
I refuse to believe that there's like good, like, to become a billionaire you need to do unethical things. There has to be some level of unethicalness of what you've done to
100%.
become that wealthy, especially because when you become that wealthy you're like hoarding wealth and money that you can't actually spend. It's incredibly difficult for you to spend that amount of money. You can't really become a billionaire without making some kind of like awful choices.
Yeah, the decision that billionaires make every single day is, can I make the world a better place and help people survive or not? And every single day they choose not to.
Yeah.
By not doing anything with their wealth or power that's of any lasting meaning. There is a sense of arrogance with billionaires because the thing is, you have to be a very specific type of person to be a billionaire. And I feel like when we see billionaires talking about anything, you see that pattern of how they became that person. They are ruthless, they are unfun, they try to be relatable, but they're also just deadly.
Yeah.
Billionaires are the worst thing that's ever happened to this planet.
Because why do you need that much money anyway?
Well, this is just it. You've taken a valuable resource out of an economy and you're holding on to it.
Yeah, it's so strange.
For no reason. Money only has value when you spend it, so why are you worth this much?
Yeah, I don't really understand. But he has... people. We talked about this a little while ago. I can't remember exactly what the topic was we were talking about, but it's... I swear a lot of these people are thinking that if they get his attention that they'll get some money.
Yeah,
I feel like there's
100%.
so much of it is rallying behind these people. It's because they're just hoping to have
That he'll be like, oh, you get $1 million.
Yeah, I think they're just hoping for a glimmer of like something that he has. I was making a point a little while ago about the rallying behind topics, but once all these trans topics like sort of go to the next thing, I do wonder what all of these like hateful people, what like Elon Musk like control, because obviously now Elon Musk has become very anti-trans on Twitter.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder what the next thing that all of these people will suddenly rally behind to be like, because eventually, like, this trans topic isn't going to go on forever, never.
No,
like
it's very true.
they're going to move on to something else because, you know, people will stop talking about it. Naturally, no one talks about one thing forever and ever. It's like, what is the next thing that they all decide to hate?
I think that's such a massive question. We don't even know. I mean, I couldn't even like assume that 5 years ago we'd be having such open, visceral hate conversations from literal Nazis turning up at places at like drag brunches.
But apparently they're on our side. Apparently they're ours.
They're Antifa. That's Nazi Antifa. Just ill. These people are ill. They need to be just, I don't know, looked at.
It's like the amount of people who are, I mean, they were doing this last year, but it seems to have kicked off a lot more this year when they're putting like the progress flag and then putting four together to make like a Nazi symbol because of the way that the front of the flag is. And it's like, they murdered thousands and thousands of us.
Yeah.
They were not on our, like,
and America didn't even liberate our people with the pink triangle from the encampments because it was still illegal to be homosexual.
It's just, it makes me think of
our people were left.
Alan Turing. Mm-hmm. Exactly. After the war, imprisoned and chemically castrated and then died. Like, what? Even though he invented the computer.
Invented the computer and also was an integral part of actually winning a world war.
Like, and the Nazis were not on our side. Exactly.
The thanks you get is castration and murder.
So the idea that they're saying that we're the Nazis and shit.
This is like, kind of sometimes the reason, like, sometimes if I really think about this, like, I don't want equality, I want revenge. And I get really like, right, I have to really check myself here because it can take my mind to some really dark places because I just feel like sometimes people walk through this life with so much privilege, they have no fucking idea that they can go on TikTok and be like, right, let's go to Birmingham and take down all the LGBT flags and beat everyone up.
Have you seen that
guy?
You are
using a device invented by a homosexual 100 years ago.
Have you seen that video of the guy kicking over all the flower pots?
That's the one I'm talking about.
Yeah, is that what you're talking? Yeah.
I'm just kind of like, you discuss, like, learn your history.
Yeah,
I'm getting so hot and bothered right now.
It's like, to be honest, it's like all of those extreme right wingers who are shouting about Bagamardo of all this while they the thing is, while they're using technology to say it. It's like you're moaning about you having all the kids using technology, yet you're on technology moaning about kids using technology.
Also, like, the boomers that are like, these kids that have too much technology, quite happily going to hospital and be hooked up to 19 different machines, doing all sorts of different things, taking 28 different medicines a day that are all born from extreme amounts of technology and research that, you know, the youth is doing.
It's ridiculous.
It's so hypocritical.
Talking about Elon Musk and talking about Twitter, don't call me cisgender. It is now considered a slur.
Even though it's in the dictionary as a vague descriptor term. Anyone who gets offended by the term cis is spending far too much time.
Go touch grass.
You are spending far too much time in these gender critical circles because I, as a trans person, don't really even hear the word cis more than maybe like twice a day. Unless I'm talking about something very specifically related to my experience.
This is the biggest thing. It's like
so weird.
They are chronically online.
Yeah.
To the stage that, like, you can sit, like Ollie London, for example, I know that he sits and searches name because I tweeted about him about a month ago and he retweeted me and like slagged me off and then quickly deleted it because he got completely ratioed. It's because he sits there searching his name. These gender critical people sit there and they literally search on Twitter the T slur. They'll search for like cisgender and then look at replies to try to. That's why.
Dogpile.
That's why. If anyone tweets anything about like J.K. Rowling or they tweet anything about like TERF stuff, how it's very easy to get suddenly put into one of their circles is because there are people out there scouting for people to go and attack,
100%.
and then they use things like Mumsnet or whatever, these 100,000 mums, whatever they're called, but all these like horrible sites or J.K. Rowling like fan pages to then go, this person said this, go attack them. Like, they are chronically online. To them, it must feel like, oh, everyone's calling me cisgender. Yes, because you keep going after people to call you cisgender.
It's so weird, isn't it? It's like, why do you keep calling me a thief? It's like, well, why do you keep stealing from everyone? Like, do you know what I mean?
No,
like, it's so
that.
dumb.
It's definitely
so dumb. Even as a scientist, I heard the words cis and trans. They're a chemical terminology used in quite often biology, biochemistry, chemistry. It's a Latin term that means on the same side of or opposite side of. It's a vague descriptor. Some of the people are like, my pronouns aren't cis. No, you're right. If your pronouns were cis, you'd be using neo-pronouns.
Yeah,
and that's a whole different conversation,
it's so
sis.
stupid.
So it's just like, again, it goes back to a level of education.
That
I'm always very surprised about.
They consider cis a slur because they use trans as a slur.
100%.
So that's
and they
why.
consider cis normal.
Yeah.
Whereas actually, it's not normal, it's just common.
It was recently, there was a school, I can't remember exactly what school it was, but there was a school teaching about this fish that changes its gender, and it's a factual thing, like it's a thing that happens. There's this fish,
loads of amphibians and like fish creatures can actually just change gender to to basically keep the species alive.
Yep. And there are people getting so angry that this school was teaching this. It's like,
Gender ideology.
it's
actually
just
happened.
fact. It's
fact.
just fact. Like, that's what happens. And they're like, no, like, let's not hope they find about the male seahorses that give birth.
Oh,
what are they gonna do then? No, don't teach our kids about that.
No, I can't bear it. But seahorses weren't in the Bible.
No.
It's just like, what are you talking about? Eventually, unfortunately, at the moment, I just feel like Twitter is the cesspit of the internet.
Oh, it's getting worse
Every
and
time
worse.
I go on there, I'm just kind of like, right. The amount of times I actually get like shown a tweet that's just the worst take I've ever heard from anyone ever, but they're a verified account, and I'm not even following them, and it's like the first thing I see on the app, I'm like, right, I'm gonna go and block that person.
Yeah.
Because it's just unhinged.
Because they're verified. So many of these
Cringe.
people are verified now because they pay for verification.
You want to pay for verification on Twitter just to spout hate.
Because now, whenever there's like a
Weirdo.
tweet that has any kind of attention, you can always guarantee that the top 10 results of what
just gonna be
replies
transphobia.
is like transphobia, homophobia, bigotry, any kind of bigotry, racism, because it's all the tick people, because they get priority now over the searches. But like, I mean, it makes it easier for you to block people because you instantly see
it does,
them.
yeah, just
but
immediately
also,
block list.
but what's annoying is a lot of the time now when you go onto these tweets, it just says from someone you blocked, from someone you blocked, from someone you blocked. So it's like, it's still annoying to see because like they're still there, you just can't see it.
Do you remember when Elon Musk was like, we're going to limit how many people you can block because it costs a lot of money?
Stupid.
It's obviously not the case. It's obviously these blue tick people getting upset that their thoughts aren't being heard.
Yeah.
But what's also this thing about Elon Musk turning Twitter into X?
Yeah, I don't know.
What is this?
I couldn't tell you. There was a
No?
thing a little while ago, people saying that they were changing the name. I have no idea.
It's very Facebook meta.
Yeah,
Isn't it?
it's very. But there was also a thing recently I heard that Instagram is apparently bringing out a Twitter, like their own version of Twitter. If
Competitor?
Instagram came out with their version of Twitter now, I would instantly jump ship.
Yeah, instantly jump on it.
When it comes to media training, Elon Musk is probably one of the first people that we've seen for a while that actually has like some kind of power, wealth, everything that really is vocal about how he feels.
He wants to be famous. That's
But that's the thing. Mark Zuckerberg, who owns Facebook, like you don't really hear anything about him very much.
This is the same with Amazon, with Jeff Bezos. These multi-billionaires, you don't really hear a lot about unless you go looking for them.
Yeah.
Or they're releasing a new product or something. Like, do you remember when the Metaverse came out?
Exactly, yeah,
Now
yeah.
it's cancelled.
It's
because he was
cancelled.
like, it's a bad idea.
But now they're having a cage match.
Oh, yes,
They're having a
cage
cage fight.
fight.
So apparently
Nice
Elon
cage
Musk
fight.
and Mark Zuckerberg are going to have a cage fight?
Yes, apparently there was some training pictures shared today on Twitter of Elon Musk in his like first training session, and apparently his coach was like, "You shouldn't do this." And it's like, I mean, what else are we meant to do? It's like, I don't know, it kind of feels like the boomers have seen what the kids are up to, Logan Paul, Jake Paul, and gone,
Yeah.
we'll do that, won't that be a laugh?
Yeah.
Let's all get drunk at the pub and do all that.
It feels very that.
It's
feels,
so that, isn't
yeah,
it?
it feels like Elon's trying to be like the Logan brothers. It
He's
does feel like
really,
the Logan brothers.
It's
Paul
like
brothers.
he's doing pay to win fame.
No, it
and
is.
Every time I see him do anything, my immediate reaction isn't just, what an inspiring young man. It's, oh, disgusting.
Disgusting.
Oh,
Absolutely
just
vile.
stop. It's like watching, I don't know, your fun, wacky uncle try and do like, come and dance. Like, no.
No, you don't need to
talk
do that.
Me. Don't talk to me.
The thing is with Elon is he wants to be he wants attention and fame and like friends that much that he doesn't really care which
Where they come from,
Yeah,
yeah.
where they come from. The cisgender thing being a slur on Twitter is just absolutely bonkers and the most fragile of people.
Yeah.
I love how it went from I was just talking about Trump's indictment and we went under like this cataclysm of like
Colleen Ballinger, perhaps?
Colleen, yes. So Miranda Sings being
yes.
done for grooming allegations.
Yes. Again, not a drag queen.
Not
Well,
a drag queen, but like so the stuff that happened with Miranda Sings Colleen, I find very bizarre because I don't know why it's taken 2+ years for it to actually develop into something. I don't know exactly what's happened
I feel
because
like that's kind of mirrors the Phil thing as well, though.
It
Like, Why
does.
has it taken so long?
because so this guy called Adam, I've got his how do you say his last name?
McIntyre.
So Adam McIntyre, I feel he basically worked for Colleen for a while. He was a
Oh,
fan.
is that what it is?
Yeah, so he was a fan of hers, and he was under. I don't know how actually old he is now, but at the time he was underage. I think he was like literally like 14 or something, really young,
Jesus.
and was like in live shows and was really like fanny of her, whatever, and got into one of the streams and she sent him like lingerie from a live show. She was like a video of her wearing the lingerie being like, oh, we're gonna send your parents are gonna think I'm a right creep. And like so he then became kind of friendly with her, and so to him, he thought she was being a friend to him, and he started like writing comedy skits for Miranda for her.
Becoming almost like a producer.
Yeah, do you remember when Miranda Sings did a video saying I'm coming out? The video was titled "I'm Coming Out" or something.
So I never really watched a lot of Colleen Ballinger because the smudged red lipstick used to give me the ick like severely. So I used to be like, I can't watch this, but no, I am familiar with.
Yes, it was a video that
work.
it was a video that Miranda Sings came because Miranda Sings. Yeah, and it was like I'm coming out, and it was actually I was coming out as like a Jonas Brothers fan or something. I can't, it was like a band, but I'm coming out as a fan. So everyone was a bit like, why are you doing like a fake coming out thing? 'Cause it's not funny. Like that's not something you just joke about. But obviously Adam wrote it for her. Adam was like a child as well at the time. And so
I feel like that's different though, isn't it? Like if a child is
no.
like
this is nothing against Adam at all.
No, I understand that. But it's just kind of like a kid writing like funny skits is going to be able to get away with being like, yeah, this is a coming out video, but it was actually a fan of the Spice Girls or something. Whereas like you'd think an adult would have, I don't know, some semblance of critical thinking to be like, it's probably not good to do that in the climate right now.
As someone who has a fan base of people of all age demographics, I know who to talk to in certain manners, in different ways, depending on their age.
Which is media training.
Exactly, that is media training. And so I find it, and sure, I'll just probably carry on the story before I get onto that.
Yeah,
so, and then stuff happened. She became aggressive towards him, and then was like saying loads of like bitchy stuff on the internet about him and being horrible. It was really weird. And so this kind of got her a little bit of slack back in the day, and she made this kind of like apology video being like, yes, I shouldn't have been talking to minors like this, and I should have maybe got someone my own age to make the videos, and blah 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 blah. Ever since then, more things have come out recently about her grooming other children, on inappropriate discussions with children about, sex, relationships, everything. And I'm just like, it's interesting because you don't normally hear about women. It's always like men doing it. So it's interesting to hear that a woman has done this to other people.
But the amount of times that we watch these videos that are like the worst scandals of YouTube, and like 90% of them are just pedos.
Yeah,
it's just shocking. Like, what is it about the YouTube platform that just attracts them? It's so I guess it's unfettered access to everyone of every age, isn't it?
I just find it weird that it took so long for like any real consequences to happen, because Adam, I'm kind of bastardizing the story a little bit, but Adam came out and told people a lot about all the stuff that we said like a couple years ago, but like nothing happened. It kind of just got swept under the rug and everyone was like there. So I don't know exactly what the catalyst was that made it suddenly all come out now. Even Joey Graceffa's been dragged into it because there's like videos of him and her like doing weird shit back in the day. And
I've always gotten a little bit of an odd vibe.
I hate him. The first time I met him, he was an absolute so
well, there you go.
Well, videos. I think I said it in a podcast.
Yeah,
I think it was
probably.
a podcast episode. Yeah, he was awful. The whole Colleen thing. But I just find it interesting that it's a woman, because you don't normally hear about it. That women have been grooming like minors to do things for her and be spies.
A lot of people don't take it seriously when there is, because they're like they're especially these straight men sometimes are like, well, I wish my teacher did that to me when I was 11.
Yeah,
like really have some decorum and some empathy for people who have gone through very difficult things. It's grim.
But it makes me think of the Philip Schofield thing as well, because in the UK, we've recently had quite a strong scandal. Like, I know people outside of the UK might not understand, but to make you grasp the concept of Philip Schofield, he is by far probably the most famous TV personality presenter that we have ever had. In recent
years, I would say.
So
of morning shows specifically,
yes,
I would say.
Because even if you don't watch it, even if you don't like that kind of stuff, you knew who Philip Schofield was. Like literally everywhere. I couldn't imagine anyone who did in the UK who didn't know who Philip Schofield was. And so Philip Schofield has recently been he stepped down from his position. He would have been like they would have been like, you need to go because you're causing that. Here's resignation. Yeah, because it turned out that he had a inappropriate relationship with a staff who works on the show, but it wasn't just as cut and dry as that. It was, he had known this child
since they were 10.
Since they were like 10. There was a bit of speculation as to exactly how well they knew each other, but there's photos of them like together when he was like in like primary school.
Yeah.
As he got on older, he became in communication with him and got him a job on the show. And then they ended up having like a sexual relationship. And then to deflect from a lot of the speculation that was coming out a couple of years ago, Philip then came out as gay and was like, oh, I'm so sorry, I never tell anyone. I'm actually gay.
Yeah, this is weird, isn't it? And then he was like, my wife accepts it and my
wife,
family loves me.
So
We're still gonna stay together.
He had like he was married and
so
stuff.
Weird. It was like, what are you doing?
And then, well, that was there was
very
this,
that House of Cards guy.
Yes, he's very, very Kevin Spacey. No, so Philip Schofield came out as gay at that time, and everyone was like, blah, blah, blah. And they kind of forgot about everything else that had happened because it happened around about the same time as the speculation about this not underage, but like this like stuff, this young boy who worked on This Morning. It kind of came out at the same time, and there was speculation that This Morning had talked to him and said that you need to come out to deflect.
Yeah,
I can't say it's fact. That was just speculation.
But it's show business.
It's
like,
show
you can
business.
imagine
Yeah,
that something like that would
it's
happen.
show business. And then it took like 2 years for what's
Anything
happened
to
now.
happen.
It was really weird because people just kind of stopped talking about it and nothing really happened.
So yeah, when this first came up again, I was like, oh, is there another? Is he done it with another person?
Yeah.
Because I couldn't possibly comprehend that only just now was the mainstream media talking about it.
Yeah,
because
it
I was like,
was
this was
really
years
weird.
ago.
It was
like we were talking about it for ages, being like, this is shocking.
It was really strange. And so it came out that he had a sexual relationship with this really young person who worked on the show, the boy that he had known from when he was like 10 years old and was like his mentor, and then got him a job on the show. I know there's no good time for grooming allegations to come out. There's never a good time. But with the current climate of LGBT people being called groomers again, it was like, what the it's the last thing we needed.
Yeah,
of like
100%.
a very prominent gay presenter now, because 2 years now after he's come out, has now been admitting that he had a sexual relationship with an incredible, like, technically under the law, from what we know, he hasn't broken a law, but it still doesn't make it any better.
It doesn't make it any better because it's still unethical.
It's still unethical. The fact that he had known this kid from when he was literally a child, mentored him, got him a show on This Morning, and then as soon as they got the show and it became legal, they started having sex.
It is so weird though how the media decided to break this the same time that Partygate was being investigated.
Yeah.
What's that? Like, never waste a good news story.
Yeah.
Like, there's no like slow news day or a big budget day. Release the Where is Madeleine McCann story.
Yeah. Very that.
Like, I'm surprised, honestly, it wasn't just like Where's Madeleine McCann when Partygate happened. We reshuffling the cabinet.
Sorry, it's because
my leg's gone numb, so I'm also reshuffled.
I just had tattoo work done on my left bum cheek, and so I have to like rearrange myself a little bit because am I still in shot? My leg was a bit uncomfortable.
I like your top,
Thank you.
little muscle fish.
Hellfish. I have too much Simpsons merchandise.
I know. I remember this. I like this one.
So,
I like his muscle. It's
Thank you. I also have it in a vest
woman's
as well.
blouse.
I also have it in a woman's blouse with a matching gusset
and a bonnet. For good luck. Like a sickly Victorian child.
That thing that kids would always have when they had like bad teeth. These huge like things that they would put on their cheeks.
Brace.
I think the reason the Philip Schofield thing only just happened recently is because also his brother.
Oh, yes. That's a good point.
So a few months before Philip Schofield drama actually probably happened and he was actually ousted as like this groomer person.
This predator.
A few months before that, his brother was also found out to be a nonce.
Yes.
And actually convicted of having sexual relationships with children.
Jesus.
So it's like the apple doesn't fall far from the...
No, it really doesn't.
So I think that was probably what spearheaded like suddenly everyone talking about Philip Schofield again being a bit predatory.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
Yeah, to be honest, all of these things are probably all part of the same puzzle.
Yeah. I watched a video recently and it was like this guy saying, when your friends have a child or you know someone and you meet a child and then that child grows up to an adult, you in a weird way still think of that person as a child. Like when I think of like friends who I've grown up with who have kids now, like some of like they're still kind of young, but like I still see them as like, oh, that's their parents' kids or whatever. I would never then want to sleep with that person
don't even
because it's
go
like
there.
I still think of that person as like, oh, that's Thingy's kid. Like it's still I don't ever think, oh, that's an adult now, so I can.
I feel like something, obviously, some wires get crossed somewhere in the head in order for them to suddenly be like, oh no, that's an attractive person now.
Yeah.
Like there's something like not right going on there. I cannot imagine for a split second in my life meeting like my friend's child and being like, I'm like gonna pursue this romantically. There's like some sort of like, I don't even know how to explain it, but it's just like, that is absolutely wrong on every level.
Yeah.
The idea that people don't have that feeling is bleak.
I just find it weird that you
makes
would
me go, I don't even know if I can even say it, because it's like my spine is like, leave,
die. Yeah, I just find it weird that you would meet a child and then have sex with them when they get older, especially because like you've met them when they're like really, really, really young as well.
I'm not even a huge fan of massive age gaps anyway. Because,
No.
Like for me in my life, I'd like to have something in common with who I'm
That's
seeing.
the thing,
And
like
if you're 50 and you're seeing an 18-year-old, what have you got in common?
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing. And if you've got a lot in common, there's something wrong with one of you. You know?
At the current climate, it was like this couldn't have happened at the worst time as well.
Yeah. It did throw the morning television world of the UK into absolute chaos.
Oh, it
should have been cancelled and replaced with something else for at least, I don't know, 3 months.
They should have had a break, but there was like literally like no break. It was kind of
and
just
then
like,
Holly came back being like, oh, aren't we all sorry?
Oh, aren't we? Yeah, are you okay? Are you doing okay?
Are you doing okay?
Yeah.
Like,
and then recently there was more scandal with her because she tweeted not that long ago about like climate change, how awful it was, but then took a helicopter to Glastonbury.
Just
like, what are you doing? Like, what? Like,
insufferable people.
You took your own private helicopter to go to Glastonbury, like.
Because that's the point of Glastonbury, isn't it? Get muddy in the field, but come with your helicopter.
Like, what are you doing? Talk about climate change and how emissions and all that shit, and then be like, I'm gonna go in something that's gonna cause like a lot of emissions. Like, what are you doing? Like, go with everyone else.
So weird, isn't
Strange.
it? I get so sick of these people because it's very easy for them to say things, but it's very difficult. Like, we never see real meaningful change happening.
No.
It's like everything that we see in this world is done by such a like tiny little drip feed, and it's like, well, the world is changing at such a faster pace than this tiny little drip feed.
Yeah.
It's just like, eventually, the world that we live in is going to be completely unrecognizable. And I'm sure to some people living somewhere in the world, it is completely unrecognizable from when they were younger.
Yeah.
It's just shocking, isn't it? Right. Trans healthcare bans reversed.
So,
Florida.
1962. So, would you like to spearhead this as the trans woman on this podcast?
Outed, girls.
Oh,
God, yeah. I don't even know if I've got all the information here, but the Supreme Court basically said, no, you can't do all that. We can't ban drag.
I'm glad
we
that
can't ban healthcare for trans people. It is against their First Amendment. And I'm glad that someone somewhere has a semblance of sense. Apparently, I don't know if I'm getting my wires crossed here, but the judge was also appointed by Trump. So they're like a right-wing leaning judge, but they've also decided that, like, no, this is personal liberty. We cannot encroach on
at least
this.
that's some.
I finally am happy to hear some semblance of, like, we saw a huge wave of these, like, laws and bans coming in. We're actually starting to see a sort of pendulum swing back of like actual legal pushback and being like, this isn't actually constitutionally allowed, which is nice to think that actually some people out there have some people in power have critical thinking. It's not just gender critical.
It's not. But the thing is, I think this is it though. I think that's actually a good telling, because we always say about how it's a loud minority, and this kind of makes it feel like actually
it is.
I just think that it's nice that there's some hint of like, not allyship, because I feel like it's not
safety,
even allyship.
Some semblance of safety somewhere.
It's more of, I feel like these people are probably looking out for themselves by doing this, because they're like, well, we can't get rid of this because therefore they might pass something that might go against my amendment rights. But at least it's fair. In some sense, they're not just going, we're going to ban that even though it is against someone's human rights.
Exactly. I feel like if you want to learn more about this topic, Ty Turner on YouTube actually covers like what's actually happening in trans law in America quite well.
And he says he loves the podcast.
Hi, bitch! I'm cringe. So yes, apparently there was something like 460 plus laws like being spoken about, but it doesn't seem like a lot of them are passing, thank God for that. And then the ones that are passed are actually being like scrutinized legally by the Supreme Court. It was so fast that we were talking about going to Florida to go to Universal Studios in Disney World, Florida. And literally like a month later it was like, no, trans people can't come. And then it was like, oh, gays don't come either. No one come here.
Well,
everyone's
even
gonna die.
it was
so fast.
Like that. what was the company that did it? They were like saying they put like a warning out to LGBT people.
It was like equality of Florida or something.
Yeah, so I'm saying like it's
travel
like
equality.
do not come here.
Yeah,
It's
do
not
not
safe.
come here. It's not safe for you. Which is like weird to hear about. Technically, what's classed as like a developed nation, first world country.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just like right. So LGBT people aren't allowed there. So
Yeah.
that doesn't sound to me like a very developed nation.
No,
place to go.
absolutely not.
Really, really weird. Really, really weird. And I don't know why someone like DeSantis would decide to limit tourism to Florida must be a massive income.
Especially from like Disneyland
And
itself.
the thing is, I know like you don't have to necessarily agree with like gays or trans people or whatever, but like people who don't have children, quite often if they're in like a double income, no children family, have a lot of disposable income
Yeah.
and they're going to want to go on holiday. Why wouldn't you want to make your state more attractive and be like, come and spend your money with us, girls?
Yeah,
It
yeah.
doesn't make any economic sense to be like, we don't want
Well, it's
you and
always
your
the
money
thing
here.
is these people are so filled with hatred that they're willing to make themselves suffer in also to
100%.
make you suffer.
Exactly.
And it's the same as the whole people voting for Brexit because they're racist, or people voting for Conservatives because they're racist, because they're, even though like the majority of people in these like working class places, like Conservatives don't give a shit about you,
Yeah, it's
but they'll
so
still vote for
shocking,
them
isn't it?
because they're saying they'll do Brexit or get, the borders more, don't let immigration in. When these people are like, if you actually voted for a party that helped
I
you,
hate
your
Brexit
life would
so
improve.
much. Yeah, I've been thinking a lot about Brexit recently because I don't know if I'm gonna. Obviously, especially with all these like recent anti-trans laws being talked about. Anyway, even the Equalities Act in the UK is being like heavily scrutinised right now. And I'm actually at a point in my life where I'm like, I might not live in the UK forever because it's no longer feeling like legally this could be my home to allow me to thrive here as a person of who I am. And the idea that because of Brexit, under my current state, unless I pursue my German heritage to get a German passport through German citizenry and my ancestry, I can't leave this island.
Yeah.
So I will be stuck here to experience whatever women fancy of the nonsense in power right now decides about my person.
My heritage is very boring, so unfortunately I am stuck here without any...
It's horrible, isn't it? Because it's like, well, now what? Do you know what I find very interesting about this platform that we call home,
What?
YouTube? Sometimes the advertiser guidelines...
Oh, yes!
Sometimes the advertiser guidelines are so secretive and sneaky that sometimes we can't even say certain words that aren't really actually a problem. Like Bussy Queen can't say their name, Bussy, because they might get limited by the algorithm. And then yesterday, I had someone send me a video. It was called something like, "This is how I clean my hole," or something like this.
Yeah.
In the first 8 seconds, this guy is like, "This is what my hole currently looks like." Flashes his entire bussy hole, fluffy hairs and all, and it's about him naring, which is a hair removal cream, his hole in this video.
Well,
and it's
I wanna
like a
stress as well.
full-on tutorial.
I want to stress as well. So yeah, this video is about how to nair hair off your arsehole. And he's like, oh, this is how, he was like, so he starts off and it says, this is how hairy my arse is currently. But like, and then like literally it was within like less than 10 seconds in, it's him bending over, spreading his ass like cheeks open so you can see inside his hole and saying like this stuff. But like, you don't also just see that, you see his ball sack as well.
Yes!
Like it's like this.
It's so explicit. And the thing is, it's like got adverts and
Advert.
monetization and it's been up for like weeks. Like it's like, but we can't say the word shit in the first 20 seconds or demonetized.
But he can put his
a
entire
clap,
hole.
wasn't it?
And then he showed it multiple times. And then showed one shot when I'm putting nair. And it was like, sorry, this isn't you putting down your asshole. This is you like...
This is sex.
This is like you massaging your hole. Like, he wasn't even just putting like a bit of nail. It was like rounds and rounds
the
and
garden
going in
like
and out.
Baphomet.
It was just like, this is...
Also, don't put nair in your asshole.
No, I didn't think you were able to
Don't
do it on these
that.
areas anyway.
Don't do that. You'll be very upset.
I just can't believe that there's literally a video of that guy, like,
Just doing that.
showing
And
his...
apparently that meets advertisers' guidelines.
Because apparently it's educational.
It's educational, so they won't take it down because it's actually educational. It's a tutorial situation.
Ooh,
Even though-
Roseanne Barr
I
trending,
know,
sorry.
yeah, weird, isn't it? It's just so... sometimes I don't understand the game that we're playing sometimes. It's like the rules change and no one's told anything. Or the rules just suddenly don't count.
Yeah, I do not think YouTube is the platform to be showing your entire hole off showing how you nair your asshole. Like, but the thing is as well,
we have
you could
13-year-olds on this platform.
you could have also just done a diagram or
Yes.
just told people how to do it. Like
Yes.
the fact that you literally have, because as well, why is your like penis and balls on show as
Well,
well.
this
then.
is it,
What's
yeah.
that got to do with it? This is knowing an asshole. So why is that allowed? Because it has nothing to do with it.
It's just so weird. I just like what went through. I could never. Could you imagine?
But the thing is,
ever making a video like that? Ever?
As we said, so we have a little chat with Novimpia. We have
Called
like
the Piss
the Piss
Bandits.
Bandits. And I remember saying, I remember him going viral recently on Twitter because someone was scrolling through their TikToks, and every single one of his TikTok like videos were just like, I was in a gangbang with 18 donkeys. I was killed by my sister and resurrected from Jesus's bussy.
I knew I recognized his face.
And there was just like story after story after story of the most obscene sexual things that have happened to him, and it was just like
it's so clout chasey to get your entire asshole out on YouTube in the first 8 seconds of a tutorial of 15 minutes. Is the ultimate clout chase.
It was just gross. I was like, this shouldn't be on
bizarre.
YouTube. This should not be on YouTube.
Should not, even under educational purposes. Blur it. Or like the fact that I can't show actual plastic surgery results because that's technically educational, but if there's a hint of a curvature of a breast, demonetized.
So years ago I had a video where I reacted to Tana Mojo getting a nipple pierced.
Yeah.
And there was like literally a 3-second clip of her down and you see her nipple, but I had the entire, literally not just the nipple blurred, like the entire
chest.
like the entire chest area like completely blurred. You couldn't see a single thing. You couldn't even make out what it was.
Yeah.
Still got demonetized because of that.
Yeah. In my first America's Next Top Model video where we watched that show that was literally broadcast before the watershed, and Adrienne was SA'd on the street because a man lifted up her skirt. I was demonetized for reacting to that and saying that was a bad negative thing to have happened, and that everyone
but this person got his pussy out.
Yeah, this person can just get his full-on hole out. Oh, it's awful, isn't it?
So lastly, what are some things that are coming up with you?
Yeah, what's going on in your current
How's
events?
your dog?
Oh, me personally. Our little biscuit's doing really well. He went for a little swim at the beach last weekend, which was nice, down in Brighton. You'll be able to see that on my next video.
Yep.
I've got like a little clip of him doing the little doggy paddle.
How old is he? 5 months now?
He's 6 months
6
now.
months, gosh.
6 months and 1 week. I know, right? I feel like he's quite big and he's just entering puberty. So everything is like, oh, I need to look at my willy girls. And it's like, oh.
Oh yeah, every time I come to their house now, as soon as I start like seeing the dog, he goes absolutely insane. I stroke him a few times or whatever, and he's like fully lipstick out.
Yeah, lipstick out, and he does this thing called genital checking, which is something that eventually they grow out of, but it's a habit they form of just being like, play. Is my willy still there? If you snatched it, it's so weird. Dogs are just weird little creatures, but no, he's doing really, really well. He's a bit fussy with his food, but he always has been. So I've never met a dog that is not completely food obsessed.
Yeah,
he loves playtime, so I'm trying to like gauge how to train him with using play as the reward rather than treats because he just doesn't care.
Yeah.
So that's quite interesting. But otherwise, he's getting really fluffy now.
A fluff
fluffy. Yeah, he's lovely.
A little fluff. So
Little fluffy
we go for our
biscuit.
little like evening walks, don't we?
Yes, we'll do another one tomorrow evening.
Okay.
After I play 8 years of Final Fantasy.
Yeah, Luxeria is obsessed with Final Fantasy.
Oh, it's one of the best editions.
Oh my
Jesus. And that was how she died. My scalp. My scalp flew at that moment.
Oh,
wow.
God. They would have seen it on camera. If you're listening to this on iTunes or Spotify or whatever, my pop collection just fell down. I need to rearrange them. It's fine. I guess it's going to force me to. That gave me a real heart attack.
Yeah, me too.
My heart rate
we're being burgled.
We're being burgled. Yeah, so since...
And what's going on with you?
Since the last podcast episode, I know I've mentioned it in my normal videos as well, but I now do reaction content on Twitch.
Yes.
I had
a partner woman.
Yeah, I had Twitch reach out to me a little while ago asking if I wanted to like be an ambassador for them and do reaction stuff, but they sent it to my old email, so I didn't see this email. I have my email now that I use was RolyWestYT. They didn't. You sent this, so I'm not sure where they got my old email from because I've not used that one in years.
Sometimes this happens though, and I feel like I'm missing out on opportunities.
Yeah, like where
I've got an email from 2012. I'm like, that's not helpful.
And I had my housemate Callum. I had him do my emails like a few months ago, and I just happened to be like, "Do you want to just check this one?" Because I don't ever check it because I've not used it for like 4 years. So I was like, "Well, who the hell has it?" And so he messaged them back, and I was actually very lucky because the whole campaign has already ended.
Yeah.
But they still took me on even though I was late. So I'm now doing reaction stuff over on Twitch, and it's been. I was so so nervous doing it because I was like, I don't know if people are watching so much because obviously when we do our reaction stuff, I edit it quite heavy to add in jump cuts and like funny clips and everything just to make it like
the editing is like the extra character.
Yes,
in the
exactly.
room, isn't it? You don't have that character in a live stream.
So I was really nervous starting it, but it's my viewership and everything is subscription wise and followers tripled since doing it.
It's honestly good. I've clocked in a few times as well, and I've been there being like, oh, it's just
it's really fun. And we have kind of like focused on Reddit stuff just because it's a little bit tricky doing piercing things on Twitch because of the gore factor.
Yeah.
And I don't like to pre-screen stuff because you lose the reaction.
Yes, 100%.
And so because
it'd be like me watching an entire episode of America's Next Top Model and then reacting to
exactly,
America's Next Top Model.
It's like it's difficult. So we've been focusing on like tattoo fails and like other stuff because a lot of that on Reddit has like censors over it. But it's been wonderful and I've really enjoyed it. I recently just became a Twitch partner, which is really fun. And I got my little tick.
You got a little tick.
I'm so happy that it's happened. So when I have one more month of like contract with them, that is my like reaction month that I have to keep doing it, but like I'm gonna carry it on afterwards because
100%.
it's just I will do some gaming as well still because I do enjoy it, but like primarily I'm gonna carry on doing reaction stuff because it's just been wonderful and the community
reception has been really good.
The reception has been really great. I've never had this many viewers live there before, like as well, and it's been wonderful. So I've been really thankful for the support that everyone's given me on it. And
you should do like a photo shoot to signify the end, being like, "Thank you everyone for the end of the campaign."
No, I'm gonna go off myself.
Oh, God.
So yeah, but I really enjoyed it. Get on the submarine. Implode. I've also been getting lots more tattoo, which is nice.
Yes.
I recently went to the Netherlands, had a rave, which is fun.
Tattooed. You should put it on YouTube. Just full hole out.
Full hole.
Tattooed.
I could, yeah. Sorry, tattooing a rectum.
On my rectum.
I'm tattooing a rectum on my rectum. Yeah. No anal bleaching here.
No.
It's just a rectum.
Yeah.
Blue waffle, blue holes. Disgusting. And then people want to talk about waffle stomping. Absolutely disgusting.
Oh, you vile human being. That was on Sun, Sex and Suspicious Parents. Can you believe that?
Absolutely disgusting. But yes, I just started doing my new tattoo project on my leg, which has been fun since the last podcast.
Oh, a big thing for me is I'm getting a little bit of revision with my FFS.
Oh yeah, she's having an eyeball taken out.
I am, yeah. I don't need this one. It's
No.
not very feminine.
No.
No, I will be getting another hair transplant, and I'll also be having a little bit of scar revision on the back of my scalp because I have a little bit of hypertrophic scarring on one side. Weirdly enough, my body is kind of like this though. Sometimes, like, there's this scar on my leg that was just like really big.
Yeah.
So I probably should have had that sorted out at some point. But no, so I'm getting that bit fixed, and I'll also have my hairline readjusted because with the pulling back of the scalp and rejoining back here, my hairline has been lifted. So I'm having it like reduced again with another transplant. So that is something that I'll be organising and sorting out soon.
Yep.
Go to Spain again for like another 7 days.
Ma boche
liaise, absolutely. I think I'm going to document it.
Yeah.
I don't see why I shouldn't really. I mean, like, it's relatively straightforward content to do because it's like vlogging is second nature.
Yeah.
Really.
Oh yeah, do it.
Vlogging
like you might as well.
This is second nature. So, and I think people will be interested to see what an FUE from Facial Team actually looks like.
Yeah. No, I think you should. I think you should. But
and then I do want to get my voice done at some point, but I feel like I'd love to get them done nearer together so I can kind of combine the healing. Because
yeah, you don't want to have to like.
Ironically, the healing of my voice will take a lot less than the healing of my hairline. A whole hairline healing takes like 1.5 years to get to anything good. The only thing that I'm a little bit like about is I have to shave a section of the back of my head. So I'm kind of thinking about like hairstyles that I may have to get to like protect that area and like protect the way that I look.
Gonna look like a Mortal Kombat character.
Yeah, a little bit. I don't know, but I'm kind of like a little bit punky, a little bit viper punk, so I can sort of.
You're hardly like foreign to the idea of like slightly edgy, punky looks. Exactly. We know your history, girl. Yes.
Okay, but yeah, that's basically my tea. Oh no, I can't say that. NDA.
Oh no, say. But anyway, share some of your thoughts.
Let us know any current events that are going on in your life that may or may not be related to anything we've shared in this video. Let us know your thoughts about some of the topics we've covered as well, because some of them have been so wild and
obscene,
from start to finish.
Yeah.
I just like every time we do one of these actual current event ones, and not just like. Am I the arsehole? It's like, how can we possibly have this much to talk about since the previous one?
Yeah. Because like it was like when the submarine thing happened. It was like it literally just took over the world. Like it became.
It was like a 24-hour news story constantly. It was so bizarre.
I can't remember the last time a story went so viral like that. Obscene.
Weird.
Anyway.
Really weird.
thank you for watching.
Yes.
Please hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. We will see you soon for another fabulous podcast. Very, very poddy waddy, not the poddy girls.
Not the poddy. Not the poddy livy.
Not the
But
poddy livy.
if you want some more content from us, obviously check out Roly's ridiculous reactions and also check out my ridiculous reactions and follow us both on Twitch.
And if you look very carefully, we both make videos where we show our holes.
Speak for yourself.